Indoctrination happens when the retarded parents use the inculcation of beliefs, attitudes in order to instill their own bullshit conviction onto their own kids, constantly brainwashing ruined children. Those beliefs are contested and the methods that are used to instill them circumvent many significant arguments or evidences. Indoctrinated, brainwashed morons will try to distort the reality, bend the timeline, change the laws of physics in their hopeless pursuit of desperate seeking self-evidence, any substantiation for their dumb beliefs to make them sound even more stupid. In order to powerfully instill brainwashing into the gullible minds of your children, you have to put them into school, a master of ruining human vulnerable minds. Other morons called teachers will take care of your children by ordering them to be absolutely obedient and listen to their master under penalty of disobedience. Children at schools being forced to sit quietly are not allowed to question what their life experts have to say. They are not taught of independent and critical thinking, and when they come back to homes their minds are still occupied by compulsory homework or learning to an exam, to avoid unpleasant mind-wrecking punishment. Additionally, in the meantime, their brain energy is sucking by mindless consumption of absolutely pathetic, disgusting social media. That's how complete mind controlling works. People who are taught and prone to being obedient won't be willing to start a revolution to oppose against government. They will accept whatever is imposed from the authority having more and more control. They need mindless amoebas like you. With today's modern world, technology and legal methods of brainwashing, people are completely disconnected from reality. So it seems like mind-controlling program works fantastic in favor of those in power. One of the recent examples in the US of the government turning to education reform is when President Donald Trump established the President's Advisory 1776 commission aiming at promoting patriotic education. The President took steps to enhance compliance with laws calling for educational institutions receiving federal funds to celebrate Constitution Day. All of this promoted under the slogan of spreading national unity by commitment to Americans' shared founding principles. Trump's goal was to make America's rising generations to better understand the history and principles of nation's founding. Now you should notice the relationship between captivating promoting of patriotic values and government's pursuing of making people more docile in order to make them compliant with the imposed laws and principles. Further aspects of their wretched life combined with going to school and then going to work for survival make them feel more depressed, so they try to mindlessly bombard their destroyed brains with dopamine boost, consuming social media that don't require any thinking, analyzing, so as a result their lives are totally occupied in the favor of the people in power, which means mind brainwashing program was implemented successfully. To achieve the most out of mind control pursuit, it's good to know that the dire circumstances where mentally weak mortals are put can matter tremendously. Highly stressful situations can exert making certain decisions that can differ dramatically from those choices making without pressure like that. The decision making can vary depending on the consequences of that resolution. In the nature when organisms are faced with potential danger or a loss of resource, they need to activate a fight or flight response. They require to release the survival protective mode mechanism to liquidate any potential damage and mitigate any detrimental effect of merciless environment. Response to the stressful circumstances can be activated as an instinctive fear, which initiates an act caused without much thought, when, for example, faced with an instant attack of a snake in the jungle. Another way of coping with stress can result in a more thoughtful way requiring complex computation. Under stress, individuals may omit the examination of reasoning and reach their final decision based purely on instinct. Adolf Hitler used his incredible ability of giving speeches to brainwash millions of his worshippers during very difficult times for the Germany. In the 1930s, the level of unemployment was extremely high, starvation was reigning, citizens didn't trust the government anymore. Hitler arguably took advantage of the dire circumstances where Germany was found. He used this weak spot by promising a better future, with his brainwashing methods to a large extent and splendid abilities of manipulation to become a ruthless, barbaric and bestial dictator. In 1933, Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. Along this power, he started using pressure tactics to exert his influence on others. People needed food, job and security, so it was perfect occasion to use the pressure that was pushing on them as a brainwashing mind control device. Crisis could potentially facilitate him to use exerting pressure as a form of power to a larger extent, when he was perceived by desperate citizens as a savior who's going to take them out of hunger. hunger and poverty. Thanks to his successful brainwashing propaganda, he could control nearly every aspect of people's lives. As a result of Hitler's great authority over the whole country, he was responsible for killing hundreds of thousands of disabled individuals that were sent off to gas chambers. Being Jew was virtually illegal, placing curfews, many offenses that were punished by death. Within Hitler's chain of decisions and its results, the number of people killed during Second World War and while deliberate extermination is estimated at nearly 50 million. You are simply designed to be an idiot. Nature just kicked your ass by equipping you with this dumb brain, which always tries to take shortcuts in learning new informations. So as a result, like this fucking simpleton, you absorb like sponge data from the environment, learned from the experience and beliefs of other morons. So after you passed your childhood, you're just thinking like this loser, that you possess some secret knowledge of this world, and now you're finally conscious of the reality. But you didn't even strain your shrunken mind to just think about whether it all makes any sense at all. It's very convenient to live within your ignorance, not trying to question anything that was poured into your undeveloped brain during your childhood, so in your adulthood when faced with someone who tries to make a mockery of your childhood conviction, trying to explain why your views sound like idiotic stupidity, giving the feeling that you possibly can be handicapped, your mind then activates a defense mechanism by futile seeking an explanation for all that claims, so that even more asinine ideas come to your witless intellect. In order to get out of this delusion, you have to accept that you're just a pathetic, wretched, deprived of logical thinking, silly, ignorant imbecile, and start questioning absolutely everything without exception, looking for possibly the most logical answers for all your stupid beliefs. You just have to trudge against your natural instincts of absorbing information. There is no other way in this modern reality after human species stopped living in nature. Afterwards, you'll come to the conclusion that you still know nothing. Some things might simply seem more probable and realistic than others.